If you vote for communists and you leave them in power long enough, communists will put into place systems and people within those systems to ensure they can't lose elections. There is a light at the end of this tunnel, I believe, some good news. The mayoral election in Los Angeles. And what I'm about to say, believe me, there actually is a kind of a happy ending to this. I believe there's a happy ending to this. So just stay with me. First of all, let's talk about a saying you've heard many times before. I have no doubt. I don't even know who originally came up with it, but it's a saying, and here it is. You can vote your way into communism, but you have to shoot your way out. Okay, it's a little extreme. You can vote your way into communism, but you have to shoot your way out. All right, setting aside the shooting part, why is that saying a thing? Why have you heard that before? And I know you have. You heard that before because over and over and over and over and over again throughout history, societies have learned the hard way that if you vote for communists and you leave them in power long enough, communists will put into place systems and people within those systems to ensure they can't lose elections. They'll institutionalize cheating in elections. And for a lot of people, decent people, that can be hard to understand. Why is it so consistent? Why is it every communist area, every communist country, why is it always the same? It always works the same way. They get power. If they're in power long enough, they put into place systems so they can steal elections. Why do they all do this? Well, this comes back to something that we all struggle with. They don't share your morality. If you sat down to play a game of Monopoly, when nobody was looking, would you go grab a handful of the $500 bills? Look, even if you would, I bet you'd feel bad about it. But I bet you wouldn't. Because that's stealing, that's cheating, that's not how you're supposed to play the game. But you have to understand, to a communist, that's crazy. That's an insane way to think. Of course you steal $500 bills. You steal everything you can possibly get your hands on, because winning in power is all that matters. Communists do not share your morality. They don't look at it as cheating. That's crazy. But they don't. They look at it as, well, this is how we keep power. This is how we get power. This is how we punish our enemies. This is how we reward our friends. It's an extremely demonic, sick religion, but that is what they actually believe. Now, in Los Angeles, of course, on election night, Karen Bass looked like she came in first. But then there was Spencer Pratt. Remember that only the top two advanced. So there's Spencer Pratt, and then there's this ramen commie nut job, and Pratt looked like he was pretty solidly in second, and Robin, as you'll see here, looked like she knew she was coming in last year. What?
I've been a candidate for something as long as you can remember, and you've had to live through it with me, and you've been so patient through all of it. Thank you. Godless Communists, I hope you know that everything every person in this room is fighting for in this campaign has been about building a city that's worthy of you and every child in this city.
I love you. Thank you so much. I have a great night. Thank you so much. The communists already lost. So
Spencer Pratt looking very confident, as he should have been with the numbers. Robin looking, sounding quite defeated. And every single day since then, you've woken up and you've found a new batch of votes have been located. Put it that way, located. A new batch of votes have been located. Pretty much none of them have gone to Spencer Pratt. They've all gone to the socialist Rahman. And now she's overtaken him, and she's already projected to be the winner. These companies that are projecting this, by the way, are not fly-by-night liar companies. These companies are all very reputable. Companies like Decision Desk and others, they're saying it's over. Pratt lost. The two communists will advance. Now, I have so many friends in Southern California who worked very hard and were very hopeful about this race. And perhaps you, no matter where you are, were emotionally invested in this race. And you convinced yourself that hey, because of the fire and LA is such a disaster, that this time was going to be different. But I'm warned, and I'm warned weeks ago, it's going to get crushed. And a lot of people who were very hopeful and people emotionally invested were understandably mad. I know if I got mad, I'd be mad too. Well, you don't know what you're talking about, but I did know what I was talking about. And here's what I know. When it comes to an area under communist control, if that area has been under communist control long enough, the communists have put into place systems, laws, regulations, people. They've put into place everything they need to ensure it doesn't matter how mad the people are. It doesn't matter how much money gets spent here or what this internet ad says. It doesn't matter at all. They can't possibly lose. California? I have friends in California, many of them, who tell me California hasn't had a fair election in their lifetime. Do you remember this? This is from 2010.
4 weeks after the November 2nd election, California finally has declared a winner in the Attorney General race. Harris finished so close to her Republican opponent that it took a month to finish counting every vote. She won by less than 1 percentage point.
Four weeks it took them to locate the votes Stone needed to become Attorney General. This is how things operated in Cambodia. It's how things operated in East Germany. It's how things operated in the Soviet Union. And it's how things operate in Baltimore, Chicago, New York City, whole states like California. This is how things operate in communist systems. Once you vote them in and leave them in long enough, you can't get them out. Now, that's the bad news. There is a light at the end of this tunnel, I believe, some good news. Trump is getting a lot of publicity over the last 24 hours because Trump sat down with the communist Kristen Welker and brought this whole thing up and then stormed out.
There's tremendous evidence. There's nothing but all this. The election was rigged. It was a dirty election. And it's happening again right now in California.
Presented
It's happening right now in California. Right now. Look at what's happening in California. It's 4 days.
doing well
In California, they're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with. You know why they're doing that? Because they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence?
All I have to do is look. And I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate?
That's how they
that they have
the votes.
Do you think it's appropriate that they have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a winner?
Local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging the votes to be counted quickly. That's how
They're crooked, just like you're crooked. Your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's...
Really? Well, you play right into their hands.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid.
Okay. So what's the good news? It's not Trump beating up a reporter, although we all love that. The good news is this. Communists have never been able to control their demonic urges. They just can't hold themselves back, and they push too far too fast. This Los Angeles mayor race, the brazen stealing of it out in the open. I think the communists went too far this time. And once it lands on Normie's desk, on Norm and Norma, once they start waking up to this fact, that's the beginning of us stepping in and making big changes. The good news is normies are waking up, and you should feel good about it.
I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.